Out, okay. All right, now I have to share my screen.
So it's on.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't. More of the problem was the screen cover, so I'm saying
It didn't say it, but you know, myself,
Yeah.
this,
But.
You didn't get the message?
let's go back
Yeah,
to,
because it's a point. Yeah. But. I mean.
It's
So far, I
recorded.
haven't had any problems.
Well, it's recorded.
Yeah.
Weird.
And let's see if anybody's in the, where's one participant, let's see who is, Darren, me, oh, me.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
All right, welcome. This is the Park and Rec Commission meeting on June the 18th. We're at 5 Oaks on Morrison. It is 7:05. Call the meeting to order. Roll call. Oh, do it, I guess. Stephanie Todd. Here. Bill Hanson.
Here.
Jim Person. Here. Travis Neal. Is he not here? Daniel Buchholter. Also not here. Sue Rich here. And we still have an open slot. So anyone who's interested in listening, you're welcome to put in an application for our open spot on the park commission. All right. Oh, yeah. I'll forget the other one. Maxine Wiles here representing the city council. Beverly Tucker Knight, the park director, is here, and Brian, I don't know. Is here as well to do a presentation. I'll leave you. I don't want to butcher any names. All right, item number 2, hearing from citizens.
There's no one online.
Do we have any communication?
No.
Any written communication?
Well, the only one you have is item 6.
Okay, well, we'll table it to
Yes.
item number 6. Minutes, recommendation is to approve the minutes from the May 21st regular meeting minutes. And the document was attached, so any correct,
If I could bring up an issue,
yeah,
there were some acronyms in there, it would be good to include,
Okay.
you have the OPRD and the,
Olivet Parks and Recreation
And-
Department.
and then what was the other one? There was another one in there that I saw. Wasn't. We had JBS and John Burroughs, there was one later, but, but if, when we put acronyms in, if we
Mhm.
put it.
Yeah, typically the first time I write it out, so I'll check, and if that's not the case, I will change the minutes, so you can,
Oh, I know, the other one was UNSP.
Urban Night Sky
Yeah,
Place,
right, no,
okay,
I
yeah.
understand all of those.
Yeah, no
but I'm
problem.
thinking for-
good idea. So
There.
Yep.
I'll go
Yep.
through, so you can, move to approve the minutes as amended.
any other corrections or comments? All right, I'll entertain motions.
Make a motion to approve the May 21st, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
I will second.
Oh, sorry, as amended.
As amended.
I will
Thank
second.
you.
Yes.
All right, vote all in favor,
Aye.
all opposed? Any abstentions? Unanimously passed. All right, presentation. Oh, I should have looked down. I didn't want to butcher your last name.
That's okay.
Presentation by our city horticultural list. It's a mouthful. Ryan is you're gonna talk about park habitat restoration and a current update on the projects.
Yes, so first I'm gonna stop sharing this because we're gonna open Brian's presentation. Okay, so stop the
I
share.
would also add Rockstar Horticulture.
That is correct. I will second that.
Want that in the record.
Absolutely, absolutely should be in the record. All right, so now I'm gonna open Brian's presentation.
And we appreciate you taking the time to show us this. Getting the presentation up.
Well, I presented to the park commission, it may have been like winter of 22 or could have been even don't think it could have been 20. No, I think
It was over Zoom, so it might have
It was
been
over Zoom
COVID time.
and, I think I went really long, so I'm gonna try not to do that. Can I see the screen?
You can, I'm gonna put it up,
So I don't have
gotta,
to turn around.
here we go. I've got your. I think this is it now.
So if you
Okay.
came to coffee with the mayor, there's some overlap between this and the last, okay, but I'm gonna try to go more quickly through process. And towards the end of the presentation are like some of the specific new projects. And that's what I really look to.
I apologize, Brian. I have two PowerPoints open and the computer is confused. So it'll just take
problem.
me a quick second. I have to,
Also, last time I was presenting, it was the winter. And where, now it's the busiest time of the year, so I haven't put the sort of prep that I would in the winter into this presentation, but
all right, we're gonna try one more time. All right, so got it open. We're putting it on share. Okay,
Oh, got it.
okay. Now I have to actually share it. Come on, come on.
Yes. Little song.
It is, that is correct. Let's try one more time.
It was going.
No, because I haven't said share yet.
Stacy over.
Share. Okay, now. There we go. That's. I believe, so it's Sue, how do I know? Well, that's screen too, so I need to be there, right?
Yeah, so click on it.
Hit share.
Birdhouses.
Okay, now,
But you need to click on screen 2 before you share.
okay, so if
So
I'm
go
here,
back for a second. Go back. Click on
that could be
second.
the working pattern.
Okay.
I don't know.
hang on, I need to find my, there it is. Okay, if I do this, let's see what happens. There we go.
Okay,
Okay, we're good.
okay,
Okay.
can I?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it one more second.
All right, so, one, I just like to, we have like out front, we have native gardens. But the restoration is different. It's not a garden. There is sort of, I call it the ecological inheritance of our parks, which mainly consists with the old trees that they predated the establishment of all of the parks. And, those are that's sort of the foundation that I'm typically working around. The goal is to, try to make specifically target Missouri habitat types. So we have a tall grass prairie. It's not just putting a bunch of pretty natives together. We do a lot of woodlands, more woodlands than prairie, definitely more acres and woodlands here. And then the savanna is a new thing that I'm gonna talk about later on. Places like pond, the two like gardens in native area are right next to each other. So I'll try to keep like a garden more formal, with a clear edge. And I'll try to control for height and make it look a little more ordered. But I'll be taking seed from gardens. I'll be digging up volunteers from gardens and using them in restoration projects. So if you look at like Villa, the front bed of Villa by the parking lot, like that's where we get all our purple cone flowers for the entire park system. Comes out of that bed. Okay, they are very happy there.
Work.
Let's see. Oh wait, I can just click that here. Yeah,
Oh,
there we go.
Okay.
So the restoration process, Starts with site selection. This is, site selection, I'm starting to appreciate as time goes on, is super critical. You gotta pick a good spot. Where you can have success and where we can maintain it. If it's inaccessible, then I'm just not gonna be visiting as much, because these require like repeated monitoring and interventions. Site preparation is also essential to get that right, or you won't have success. And so that's the removing the invasives. We have to deal with like leaf debris in order to seed. And then the follow-up invasive removal, as well as like I think it's here. Those actually really shouldn't be in site prep. Site prep is all the stuff you do before you plant seed. Habitat structures are going to be the non-living components of the habitat, which might, could kind of relate to grading or something like that, but definitely any sort of brush piles or kind of human-made birdhouses, rock piles, rock walls, those sort of things. And then the monitoring and the maintenance, that's a big aspect of the work
Do you want me to push it?
as well. I'm just sort of playing.
Oh, okay.
I also here I've added, so yeah, trying to like incorporate volunteers and not just in, they play a big role in invasive removal, but I'm trying to find ways to involve them more. I'll talk a little bit about that later, but here in this picture, this was these Ladue High Honor Society was kind of helping in the maintenance work, which I haven't had as many volunteers do. So they were, so I had them pulling honeysuckle, not cutting it, not removing it, pulling it, the stuff that comes back, just smaller and you can pull by hand. And here they're moving logs, they're moving the woody debris. So that was part of the site preparation. Again, so just finding ways to use volunteers, especially high school students, to do more than just cut honeysuckle. And this spring in particular, I felt like we had more success with that, because it's not always, cutting honeysuckle is not always ideal, depending on the time of year or how much time you have and how many people you have, or a variety of reasons. So, and I do find that this is the kind of work that they love, volunteers love to do. And I think we actually have got, and it's gonna turn in July, like there's a student who wants to work with us throughout the summer, who obviously had, got something out of it. And and long-term volunteers can be really great assets, because then I have a chance to train them. And they can really help get things done.
Jim person.
Jim, like Jen,
Yeah.
and maybe Frank Chin. I don't think you guys need to see this. This was for the other presentation, but the Morrison and Grandview, that's where most things are going on. And we're starting to get into Indian Meadows a little bit with the Greenway. Okay, so here I'll point out some of the things. So the Potterwood Trail is down here at Stacy. And the new action has been up here and up here. We have a big clearing that was seeded this winter, and we're going to expanding that. And there's another big clearing over here, right up to the other side of this acreage. And we're kind of expanding that. That's the sort of goals there for this year. Now, also less known, so here's the tall raspberry. And we're working along this hillside. We've already done some of that. Now we've switched to this hillside. We just cleared it out just this week. Also, this tree line, I do little small projects over there. and then all around the pond. Really, this is the only remaining honeysuckle is right through here. So maybe using an Eagle Scout or something, might be able to try to finish that. I'd like to finish the whole pond area. And then at Warson, the path right here is like the oldest project where I've continuously been working. And now we are working over here. We're doing a lot of stuff in Warson now, you know, now that the greenway's open, Warson's getting a lot more people. And so we want to make it nice. The invasives removal, that's the thing we've been kind of doing the longest. So I'm not going to go, if you guys later have any questions, you want to know more about that, but I won't really talk about it now. I will say something new, you know, that you get rid of these honeysuckle, and often what comes right behind it are native invasives or native aggressive species. And that includes poison ivy. And so we've had some just enormous pockets of poison ivy that have come in, and we're dealing with that this year, but it's just, you know, the things that replace it can be worse. So as far as planting goes, so this would be doing this after site preparation. You know, I like to mention the where we get our plant sources. And Forest Relief, Forest Keeling are the two big ones. Forest Relief, their plants are donated to us, so they're all for free. They do just have a limited selection. So Forest Relief, Forest Keeling is where I go to get a wider array of plant species, of tree and shrub species, and also that they're just like, depending on your species, they could just, Forest Keeling could be a lot better quality. And we can get big trees, and then everything is just 3 gallons. Those are 3 gallons out there, and that's the biggest you can get from Forest Relief. We do get some bare root stuff. Also, you know, this year, particularly, I've grown quite a number of shrubs from seed. It's been really hard to get wild hydrangeas lately, so I grew like 10 of them. There's some other shrubs that I just can't find, like Hercules Club and some American bamboo. That, you know, that I've just grown myself. And, you know, and we do a lot of that over the winter. As far as planting areas, it kind of goes back to that site selection thing. One of the things that, you know, I like to improve sort of these wooded areas and then build them out a little bit, building them out into turf. And where the turf isn't useful, you know, we don't build them out into our ball fields and stuff like that. But where turf is just creating a maintenance burden and not really offering anything. I'm also always looking for like the best soil. So if I find like a pocket of really high quality soil, I'm gonna want to get trees in there. It makes a huge difference on how fast trees will grow when they're in great soil. Planting, you know, it does have a number of challenges. As far as you know, how many trees we can get in the ground. Deer are a big thing. That's why you see cages. We don't put cages on everything, but we put cages on most things that the deer prefer. Or we put them on when plants are young, so they can get established and they can handle some browsing. You know, I don't like the look of cages at all, but I don't like the look of you know, a tree that's been killed by a deer even less. You know, there's some accidental damage in parks, or there can be, you know, just sort of use conflicts. But watering is the big deal. Especially in these restoration projects where there's not really a hose bib nearby, so it's done by tank. We did get the water dog though, and that's gonna, that thing waters fast. Sometimes there's some, it's not supposed to be social problems. Oh, soil. Soil. There's some areas where the soil is just as bad as you can imagine, and that typically stunts the plant's growth. Every once in a while, I have to just pull something out of the terrible soil and find another spot for it. But weed competition, volunteer skill level. I just mentioned that when volunteers are planting, I really have to kind of keep an eye on things. I think we do it right. And just with the restoration work, I have to balance that with the other demands of taking care of garden beds or tending to a tree, that needs, if we have to get a contractor to come out and remove it, or resident concerns, that sort of stuff. So it's a big balancing act in that. I always have to kind of just manage all those different demands. Forest relief, great resource. I don't know if they have these in other cities. Just a place where you can just go online and fill out a simple form. It's like shopping at a nursery and just select the species you want and how many. And we get like 80 trees a year from trees and shrubs a year from forest relief. And I just kind of it's like one of those places that just make me happy. It's out there by Creve Coeur Lake. They have an arboretum there, and it's just fun to go pick it up.
And they
And
always need donations.
and
they're looking for a place.
they love volunteers too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love volunteers, donations, and just have a great mission, I think. And whoa, hey,
We go back.
okay, there we go. All right.
You go back and forth.
Oh, yeah, sorry. All right. So here's one of the specific high school groups that we work with, and I put them in here because it's been 2 years that we've been working with them. The Planting Shade, it's this high school group that wants to get trees in the ground, and they have worked in Stacy, and now they've worked in Warson. And they provide it's all bare root, so it's small trees. But they, just I donate them and do the labor. And they've helped with like site preparation and other things. This year, I met with the leadership of Planting Shade, and they kind of were involved in the planning process of the Savannah. And that they were, I shared the grant with them. And they weren't really interested in writing editorial comment or anything like that, but I just wanted them to be involved and
Yeah.
see how, how these things progress. And they came out after, like, it had rained like 3 inches or something a day, and I didn't know if anybody was going to show up, but 10 students came out the next day, and it was muddy, and they did the work, and they were having a good time, and I got them using the grant, which I'll talk a little bit more about later, but for this project, they planted some larger trees, some of these 3-gallon containers. They also planted a couple of 15-gallon trees, and they had never like that. They've planted the bare root things, but you don't even dig a hole for you know, you sort of slip them in the ground. So this was the first time these high school kids have really like properly planted a tree. You know, and I give a little workshop, so to speak, and just educate them about trees and how we plant them and care for them. And they seem to really be into it. They had, you know, we inoculate our trees with mycorrhizae, the beneficial fungi, you know. So I was talking about symbiosis, and they said, and just like that week before in their science class, they had learned about symbiosis. So they were excited to, you know, see that school does teach some useful things.
Get a horticultural.
You know,
One of these.
and
Yeah.
so that was really, and it was just great to see them in the mud, you know, just fighting through the mud. Planting perennials. We get some perennials from local nurseries. We'll get some people will donate perennials from time to time. And then here we have the you know, I mean, we have our own nursery now. We've always had a nursery, but now it's like a lot more propagation. I grow mainly plugs, as you see there, and if you look the little cage around it, right? That was like essentially
Yeah, it was-
trash that Beverly didn't need anymore. It was part of, but we use that stuff like when it comes to growing plants, and I think it just sort of kind of symbolizes that trying to be as resourceful as possible. Plants can be extraordinarily expensive. Each one of those little trays there would cost $80. That's wholesale, you know, and by getting $8 worth of seed, and using, you know, our sunlight and water, you know, it can grow several trays. So it saves a lot of money. It's something to do to really get started in the winter. So you know, I want to keep up the nursery growing. It is the sort of thing. It doesn't require a lot of work each day, but it does require something each day. You can't ignore it like you can other things. But oh, that's right by the maintenance building.
Do you remember in the
Yeah.
winter, we showed the pictures of the plants under the grow lights? That's inside the Park Ops building. And then at this time of year, they come out and there's a gravel pad there that they sit on.
And that pad, I mean, that actually goes back to the design of that building. That little space was designated
Is it- Yeah,
as
deliberately.
the nursery area.
And then we saved an old fence from the old dog park that'll eventually go in there when we're done with our other fence projects. We seem to be continuously working on fences.
So,
Yeah,
um,
fencing and unfencing.
you know, it's easy to get help when it comes to like planting perennials. So we have had a lot of volunteer assistance there.
Sometimes also all of it sustainability advocates, and sometimes people just want to come and volunteer.
And we also do a lot of transplants, both trees and perennials. If you look at well, I'll save that till a later slide. So as far as like challenges go, the big thing I think that I find that requires special effort is like attending to diversity. They often plants want to homogenize over time, and so keeping, you know, there's the aggressive plants that sort of like to try to take over, and so also diversity things aren't always available commercially. And this year in particular, I grew some plants that you can't buy. You know, I find the seed. I want to, you know, be sort of a pioneer in introducing new plant species, new Missouri plant species, like into sort of these managed urban landscapes. It's a long odd wood grass. That's the one that I got. But it's but yeah, I want to keep doing it. So one of the ways I kind of separate a sort of a restoration project from a garden is that the perennials are going to be more established by seed in a restoration area. I will use plugs, we will use transplants, we will use quartz, but most of them are going to come in by seed. And these areas aren't going to be weeded. I do some hand weeding and all of them, you know, and I cut weeds and stuff like that, but there's just a higher tolerance for weeds in this because they're, I mean, for one, they're larger than a garden. So that's all I'll say on that. You know, seeding strategies, again, the site selection is critical. Sometimes I'll kind of test a site. I'll just seed a little area in it just to see if, you know, basically get a sense of how much weed seed is in the site. And if it would, if a broader seeding would work. I'd say the preparation, you know, has to be done pretty exhaustively. The seed mixes are pretty expensive. So that's always a limitation, you know, we could probably spend like $4,000 in seed every year if we, you know, I'd find a place to put it, but it's, you know, we don't budget that much for it. We have enough because I collect a lot. But that is time consuming. However, that's kind of how I like to spend my free time. So it works out. That's the thing about the restoration work. This is like where my heart really is. So I'm thinking about it and doing it when I'm here and when I'm not here. After seeding, you know, there's a fair amount of maintenance that can come in. Volunteers in seeding. I find, especially, you know, sort of novices are more useful in seed collection, especially like doing it together in the parks. A lot of it's just sort of monotonous, and you're doing the same thing over and over again. But if somebody brings me a bag of mixed seed, I'm not going to take that because I don't really know what's in it. So, you know, I have to maintain quality. If you have the wrong seed in your bag, it can be disastrous. You know, like sowing, you know, I again have to be thoughtful about how I use that. Volunteers do not sow the commercial seed. One, it's just too expensive. I just don't. I don't even trust my coworkers with it, you know. Right. So
Not even Ed.
I do. I mean, it doesn't really take that long
This is being
to put down the commercial seed. Now, if we're like putting down a bunch of River Roads grass in an area and we have bags that we have collected from our parks, like that's a great way something that kids can be involved in. So yes. I get the physical habitat structures that go into it, kind of talked about that. I think I have a thing, we haven't added any rock or anything like that in a while. But it is something to consider. Like this, you know, this rock wall also serves as an edge. So, you know, it's likely to have some sort of function. You know, and to provide some kind of aesthetic benefit too. Brush piles are not quite as attractive physical structure. They are useful though. They do they're, you know, in order to put the seed down, to blow leaves off and base prepare, like you kind of have to get a lot of debris off the ground. And so it's actually easier to just stack it on site than to haul it off, down to Dealman. And animals do love these things. They're always, it could be toads, there can be all sorts of things living in them. There's always something in it. There really is,
In the wintertime, we see a lot of birds. in it.
They get birds, they get, things that are just hiding temporarily, they get things that are sheltering there. That's great protection from anything that's, like worried about an owl or something. It can be tough to make, we try to make them not hideous. And they need to be compact, and that works too, because it's gonna look better if it's compact and small. So they kind of dual use animals, the maintenance part, and eventually plants grow around them, and they're not as visible. Logs and snags, we leave a lot of logs from tree removal. I wouldn't say, especially in the restoration areas, we leave a lot of logs, but we'll haul some off because we don't, you don't want it to be cluttered. And like logs, the more logs you have on the ground, the less room you have for plants to grow. But they can be sort of smoothly integrated, I think, in the landscape. And they're great for, things live in them, things live under them. I like to mention that, 1 in 10 trees in a healthy forest is standing is dead. It is a standing dead tree. And then there's always logs on the other tree. If you go into a healthy forest in the winter, it kind of looks trashy. There's so much wood on the ground. And we actually try to have a little less than you would find, but it's a part of the landscape. I won't say anything about bird boxes right now, but I will say that my coworkers really want to build a chimney swift house. So that's like the next thing. We haven't introduced a new bird box in years, and we lose them over time. So
What is a chimney swift?
it's like a tower. Chimney swifts have to live in human structures.
Picture that's up there? or-
No, that's for woodpeckers. But that one's gone because we lost that tree, got hit by lightning. So they do get thin out over time, and faster than I thought they would. We do signs. I did also, along with involving volunteers, something I'm thinking about and trying to sort of improve is the public education part. If it's talking to people on site, or if it's writing something up, or if it's generating a better sign. It is an opportunity for public engagement. Monitoring and maintenance. Here I'll just say the one new thing we're doing, or at least one new thing we're doing, is in this picture, which was a woodland burning. We burned the prairie for years, and we burned around the pond, which is a woodland burning, where you're burning leaves more so than grass. At least don't burn as intensely. And what I would like to do this coming winter is do some burning here at Borson, which we have not done. And the fire department's very supportive of us burning, and it's kind of exhausting, if only if the gym helps out every time, but it is like a feel-good experience. And fire just, does something for the psyche.
Well, it's also amazing how quickly it.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly it goes. It's amazing how hot it is.
It's incredibly hot, so hot. Feels like your face. is
and
melting.
that heat just drains you.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just a general thing on volunteers, which I've already talked about, but this seems to be what the volunteers that prefer to be involved in. And okay, so some new project areas. Okay, so I showed you the Warson path up there. What is not new, but what I've done is add these bookends. So it runs continuously from the parking lot to Barb's Bench. So you have a long, continuous, primarily wooded landscape, but and
The blooms along it, right, I walked it today, it is stunning, so definitely walk it. Your dogs would love it over there.
and if you
Yeah.
look, especially from the parking lot, like a lot of the stuff that's sort of facing the parking lot are a lot of transplants. We've dug up black oaks from Stacy, or a black oak, a tulip tree, put them over there. We've moved this, I mean, that's not a Missouri native, that's spruce.
Was that donated?
But that came from Public Works. So we
Is that the
started,
one
yeah.
in the corner?
Yeah, so we've used a lot. I mean, I think it's kind of remarkable how little we bought to put in towards the front. And but I did seed right over here by the building. I have a row of shrubs along the building. And so now this area, you'll see, like, it looks weedy now because it's the first year, but next year it'll look really nice. In Warson this is sort of like a hot spot where I tried to maintain a lot of diversity. So the Savannah area, this is the one where we got a Missouri Prairie Foundation grant and worked with Planting Shade. And it's sort of like the Savannah is more the part in the turf there. But all the ring around the edge, we're also doing a lot of work, including, like, now you can see the creek, because we've cleared all the honeysuckle from the creek. And I love that, I'm my 5th year here, and I'm like discovering trees I didn't know we had. So we have like swamp chestnut oaks down there, and I didn't even think we had any of those here. There's a big chinkapin oak on the south side of the Savannah that hasn't really been visible.
Mhm.
And that I've seen that tree in the 1930s aerial photos. So
So it must be pretty.
yeah, so it's definitely.
So a lot of people don't even know there's a creek back there. I didn't know there was a creek here until I moved here 5 years. So, no,
Well, the
no,
creek-
the one, it used to be a creek. Right now, it is fed, it's the runoff from all of Warson Pines and those whole neighborhoods over there.
Yeah, it typically has water,
It's
yeah,
a giant culvert at the edge of the
Yeah,
property that
it
dumps there.
typically has water, but it's not always moving. But it doesn't take much rain before it starts to move.
Yeah.
And so that, yeah, and just the Oak Savannah, this is what would have been in St. Louis County. It's sort of, it's a kind of imperiled habitat. There's not very many of them left. Savannah just means grassland with trees. So I think there's value in sort of creating the habitats that are rare now. Plus, this is the one that was like St. Louis County. And if you look at those 1930s aerials, you could see all these oaks out here, and there were oaks down there. And it seems like there was Savannah right where we're standing,
Right.
basically, or sitting.
Before it was a farm.
So that's the new.
So one of the other things we're trying to do in here too is reduce the amount of grass we have here, because we have incredible runoff problems here. So by increasing the trees and the native perennials, it reduces the amount of runoff, but then also it reduces the amount that has to be mowed, and mowing is our biggest contract. So by, just we're being good custodians by improving it, but it also helps us operationally too.
And this area is one of the hardest areas to mow. Like, it's wet in the spring, and it took them, they couldn't get to it for you know, until.
Not for this one probably, because, you know, they do the zones. So this zone, probably not right now, but eventually we might be able to, there's a corner of Stacy where we just took the fence down, we might be able to get to Creek funding over in there.
Cause I know residents don't get it.
Yeah, they will for residents, yeah, so there is an option for that, but we are keeping an eye on it. Yeah,
Here's a project that we've been working on this week. It's a little different because I'm using restoration to try to solve a problem. And that is underneath that hillside by the prairie, especially the north hillside. It's just kind of been a management nightmare. That's where the poison ivy is, and honeysuckle just keeps coming back. So we finally just gave it a really good clearing, and we'll probably just try to establish some grasses or something under in this area, just to, you know, because both down below the hill on all sides of it, you know, we have like higher quality habitat, and things are just going down the hill, you know, into the areas that we're really trying to manage.
so are
And
those trees native, those? pine
No,
trees?
they're not. Then that's what, they're so dense that it's nothing desirable seems to want to grow under there, but we're gonna try, and I think we could at least get some grasses.
Do you think at
established
some
under
point
there.
we might wanna just thin the trees and? put more
Yes,
trees in there?
yes, and I wanna remove, we
Okay.
still have some mulberries there.
Okay.
Some of them are kind of just too big for us. I've heard, they'll just take us a long time, but we might do. Think we'll
So sometimes we have to take trees, even though it's not, you don't always wanna take trees down, but sometimes it's just.
Well, and these, there are some that are unhealthy.
Yeah.
And we cut one down today, I mean, it was broken, you know, we cut one down that was just, you know, leaning at like a 40-degree angle. So and then on the other hill, you know, that's where the hard mass corridor, there's a different logic there. There, I'm just trying to, I call it the hard mass corridor because there's a bunch of nut trees. And I'm just trying to establish like a great food source for wildlife, chestnuts, walnuts, pecan. And a bur oak, which was a memorial oak. I'm adding oaks and hickories to just create this strip of nut trees. You know, with some pawpaws and stuff like that. So anyway, there's the general weed wars thing. I think that's the end. So that's not an exhaustive list of like the new projects. I'm doing some work around the pond. I'm always doing work with the pond. But those are things to look out for, especially the Savannah. And that's all I have right now.
The soil problem, is it worth it, or maybe you do it with all of that had the composting?
No, we can't do it. We can't do it. We don't have the personnel to do
Okay.
composting. There's
That's
no,
what I wondered.
we don't have a site for it and we don't have the
All
personnel.
right, that's what I wondered, if it was for work.
It's, yeah,
Then it's work.
absolutely.
If the soil's absolutely terrible and if there's some things I want to plant in there, I'll often amend it with some compost. And that seems to help some. But the good soil pockets, they're not like, oh, you could just add a little compost. I mean, that's aged soil, like growing around these oaks out here, you could practically dig in the ground with your hand. And it's just,
Yeah, I just meant that, you know, when you ever raise your oil, leaves and stuff, that would.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fabulous concept. Even the city of Ladue got rid of theirs. Yeah, so and the one at U City is horrible. We don't want to get anything from them, because people are not careful with what they put in it. And it takes an incredible amount of work to turn it and to care for it and have it not be stinky, but we don't have a place
Yeah.
to put it. Yeah,
and when we burn through this area, so I mean, we'll essentially be, you know, we'll be composting all the leaves and all the grass, and that helps with the soil.
So a couple of questions, the restoration process, that's what, a 3 to 5 year from the time you start taking out the invasives to?
Yeah, after the invasives are removed and it, you know, there's about a 2-year period of intensive maintenance and then sort of, you know, decreasing after that. And it varies by site to site. Some don't require me to visit a lot. But generally the third year is when you kind of see all the plants. But I've noticed, especially this year, a lot of things during what I put down years ago. No, but the seed has just been sitting there for years. So it's really, at third year is when you really start to see most of what's gonna be there.
So another thing, I was at a big core meeting, and talking to some folks that live south of Stacy. Now with the fences down, is there any kind of discussion as far as making a connection to the Cottonwood Trail from the cemetery? Because what they're saying is they're walking to Stacy. And we don't have an official entrance there from the south. I realize the hillside's there, but there's a very close connection. No.
There's no sidewalk there. There's no sidewalk.
Oh, yeah, they can come down there, but apparently there's a number of folks that come in through the woods there now. And I was just wondering if we could do
I don't understand. There's still a fence along the woods.
no, there's not.
Which- In the
No,
cemetery?
the one we just took
Cemetery.
down, the one we just took
Cemetery.
down along the cemetery, at Emmanuel
Oh, people are coming
Lutheran.
in that way?
Yes.
That actually, I think is, I know there's been an Eagle Scout who's interested in doing something.
So, I mean, you had, I could show you where it is, but as I was walking through there this week, I did notice that it might be good to do a wood chip trail to the cemetery so that then people could enter the park from the south. That's just an observation.
Well, the cemetery maintenance person wanted us to plant trees along there. I don't know how the cemetery would feel about.
I mean, there's an asphalt walk. I mean, people are gonna walk through there anyway. You know, the question is.
Yeah, but the cemetery doesn't want people trouncing early.
No,
I
but.
mean, because they will.
There's a drive, there's a drive.
There's a
Anyway,
driveway in the cemetery, but it
we don't
doesn't
need to talk-
connect to the
talk-
park.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then you were talking about problems with the cost of seed. And a question to Beverly. I know the Parks Foundation primarily is related to people giving benches. And they give contributions that we can.
Oh, yeah, we,
Paper
anybody
trees.
that calls and asks about it, we give them the brochure. It lists all of those things, including seeds and plants and
Okay,
perennials.
I just
Yes,
wanted to make sure that we.
yeah, absolutely.
But there's never
Because
been a-
everyone wants to put a bench in, but
There's never been a year where I've said, I need this much seed. And Beverly has said, we can't get that much seed. You know,
Okay, yeah.
it's just expensive.
But just
We-
bring up the idea
Yeah.
of the foundation that people want to contribute to that.
Okay, thank you very much.
You wanted me to stay for this?
Yeah, Brian's
Okay.
gonna stay for this next item.
Okay.
Okay, so,
So let me.
Oh, sure.
introduce it,
yeah,
So item number 6 is the MoDOT 88 project. Footboard on the Old Mountain Road. This just came up in the last little bit, right?
yes, I
So
just,
this-
yeah, on the 10th, we found it. All right, I'm not sure when it came in, but Bruce told me about it yesterday.
Okay.
So I immediately put it on your agenda. So MoDOT is going to redo, see if I can get my pointer over there. Okay, so this is Old Bonham Road and this is Olive. And I think I can, whoop, whoop. I went the wrong way.
So
There
you're
we
up
go.
on that corner where the sign.
Yeah, I can't zoom in. Okay, so they're gonna redo this sidewalk here. You can see that there is a junction box here, the control box. This is for the signal. And in order to get the sidewalk to be ADA, they need to move this box. So what they're proposing is down here to take 250 square feet to make the new junction box so they can make the sidewalk bigger. Now, they are working directly with the city of St. Louis because they're the property owners. But they are asking for public input. And I think that that is an excellent thing for us to push out. I think every commissioner should give some public input. And I think we should push it out through the city channels and make sure everyone knows they can comment on it. Because I think, this is my personal opinion, I think it's short-sighted to move this into the park and add the big junction box here. I think that they should, if they're doing this much effort, move it right here to the side. So that it's not blocking line of sight. It's not in the way, it just put it right here.
So,
So-
Where's the sign today, Beverly?
The sign is right here. You can't see it. It's behind this post.
So it's in between what you're recommending and where it is?
No, I wish I could zoom in. Let me see if
So how do they decide where the
so you can go to Google.
I could. I said, the whole thing is if I go to Google Maps, we lose the share.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, is that just like the closest
So
they
the
can
sun-
move it or
I
something?
think that's it. I think what they want to do is the least amount because
Yeah.
it's costly to go underground. There's a lot of other utilities there. But if it were at all possible, I would really love for that box to be over here. I don't know if it's possible. I don't.
I don't think it's being properly, like we need to, you want to get it out. It's on, social media. It went on Olivet's Facebook page,
I understand that's the
4 hours ago.
Mhm.
And the comments from MoDOT was not about the box with all the electric businesses. It's more about, oh, that we wanna, widen the sidewalks for ADA.
Exactly.
That's what their focus was. If you can view more on, and so all the responses are thumbs up, but also very positive, like they can't start soon enough. And it's about time, you can do the potholes, all.
Right.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
So I don't think that people understand that it's not just about the sidewalk. that
Right,
It's a greater issue.
right.
And all that we did as a community was, repost theirs without an explanation.
Correct, and that's why I wanted this commission to talk about it and come up with a statement, that, that you have a recommendation or what you guys think. Because the other thing to think about too is that our sign is right, do you see where the arrow is? Our sign is right here. And if they're moving that box here,
It's gonna be right
we'll
in
put our
front.
new sign in, no one's gonna see our sign.
Yeah.
Now, we can move our sign down here, but we also have a garden here, so thankfully, we have not started this process yet, and I don't want us now to start this process until we know what MoDOT's doing, because we can't move forward with a plan until we know where their items are.
So a couple of observations.
Sure.
That project is underway.
It is, it's very interesting that they're
Yeah,
asking
no,
for
the
public
way they
input
did it,
now.
Because I talked to MoDOT person at some point, and it's a design bill.
Mhm.
And so they've already started in Creek Court on this. And so the question that I would have of that is, if they take this out, what happens to the garden and the trees that are on that corner? Is there any impact on this?
Right now, the footprint they're showing, this little orange box, there's not, and they're being very careful to say it's 250 square feet. The other thing they're saying is that it's an unused section of the park. Well, I disagree with that. It's not unused because we have line of sight, we have our garden here, we have plans for this site. So I don't want to be obstreperous. I'm glad they're doing this. And I don't know if it's possible for them to move the box that much, because it would probably dramatically increase the cost of the project.
And how big is the box compared to what it is now? Here's all the picture up. And that's why it's not blocking our site right now, because it is low.
It moved,
just-
sorry, it moved, yeah.
No, I mean, I can't see that it would cost that much. All you're doing is
Wow.
extending it another,
Well,
what, 5
when-
feet.
What if
so-
they cable?
For example, when we got an estimate to build a trench at Veterans to bring electricity to
Yeah.
the fountain there, it was, I want to say $15,000.
Yeah, but to make that 5 feet longer wasn't.
I'm not talking
No,
5
I
feet.
guess
I'm not
what-
talking 5 feet.
What venue, What
talking
form
thousands
do
of
we
dollars.
need to-
Well, there is, the release that I gave you has a link to a Survey Monkey document.
Okay.
So you go in, you have to give your name and address, and you have to say how you use this site, whether you live here, you're a commuter here, you work here, and then comments. So
And you gave us that one.
I gave you that link. It's in the documents that are posted online. Yes, it's right there.
So it's the Q code.
Yes, and I let Travis and Daniel know that I need them to follow up with me on Friday, so that whatever you guys decide, I think that it would be wonderful if, as commissioners, you get the word out about really the input you want from people. And we want to make sure if it stays there, if it stays in this proposed site, great, but we don't want a giant box that's gonna block. You know,
Accident.
true,
And we won't be able to see the sign that we've been talking about for years,
yes.
investing in the.
Yes. Now, we can move our sign further down. This is all going to get redesigned. We can move our sign down a little ways further for that line of sight is okay. The other thing to think about is we have no electricity there. Because when they did the sidewalk the last time, they cut our electricity. So I asked Bruce, could we get electricity back from them this time? And he did not sound optimistic that that would happen.
So my understanding in terms of conversations with city people, that it's a challenge to work with the state, with MoDOT, just in general. And I think your comment about the electricity was something, but I think it's, to me, it's not something from the commission. I think it needs to come from council as well.
Well,
And-
right, and I'm not saying, I don't want commission to reach out to MoDOT, but I want is commissioners to tell their friends and neighbors to take this survey. That's what
Well, I
I
think
think, yeah.
commission should make an official
Yes,
statement.
yes,
That we need to express concern
Isn't
to
part of-
council.
but you have to, yeah, and you have to,
Yeah, but
we have to
part
share
of-
it to the
I
council,
think
yeah.
part of the additional problem is, it's not all of that land. Right,
No, it
it's
is.
city
Yeah.
owned,
But we lease it,
But we lease it.
but we lease it, but
we're the occupant.
we still
We
need
are the.
support of the city,
Mhm.
correct?
The city of Olivet.
No,
No,
the city of the
City of
St. Louis city.
I don't know that they care, they're indifferent.
So we're
Well-
not talking, just to be
Maybe we
clear,
should make them here.
they're not talking about creating more roadway there. It's simply for the width of that and the relocation of that. box.
Right, my understanding is they're trying to get all the ADA things done along the stretch of Olive because they're going to pave next
Right.
year, so they're trying to get it done now. So,
So, and is there a reason that it's just come up or?
I don't know, I've only heard about it yesterday.
Okay,
My guess is
So-
someone deciding to say something because they realized it might be an issue.
It's unusual for them to put a survey out like this, I think.
Yeah,
I've never seen a
they must
survey
be-
from them.
so somebody made them aware that it could be a problem, so.
So Maxine, from
And
your
one of the
perspective,
things
yeah.
To happen is it needs to be better explained on our social media,
Mhm,
because it's not just about sidewalk.
right,
And, you know, if the commission wants to come up with a statement or make a recommendation to the council.
right. That, and you, as commissioners, you can all go to the council meeting.
Speak in the 3 minutes.
Speak during the 3 minutes, but I can also, so unfortunately, I am not in town next Tuesday. So I won't be able to be at the meeting. Patrick is gonna be there because of the proclamation for July's Parks and Recreation Month, so.
So it'd be nice to have the Parks Commission there.
Yeah. It would be nice to have the Parks Commission there anyway.
On the 24th.
Yes, and I'm in the office on Friday. Tomorrow is a holiday. We closed, the center's open, but I'm off tomorrow. So I could put a staff report together on Friday, of just a really quick, short one to get on the agenda, but I have to get permission to do that. From the mayor pro tem and the mayor and the city manager, so. From your perspective, Brian, you work in that corner a lot. Do you see anything that we have missed about?
Well, if there, I would at least pay attention. I'm speaking specifically for myself, how they do that sidewalk out might affect the river birch.
The trees in there,
They
okay,
Sidewalks, you know, but that, some root pruning, which I could do myself.
okay,
Might be wide,
okay. They should probably also spell Stacy Park correctly.
you know.
So, so.
Yeah, that I would say, I'd say the main concern for that box would be the sign.
Mhm. Okay,
And,
And the side of the vehicle.
So,
Right.
so a question, is this something that we can also get Stacy McCurry involved with as our state
I
senator?
don't know. That's a good question. Maybe that's a council question. I don't know.
Well, our personal call,
Your personal call, absolutely. She's also a member of Olivet and Bloom. Yeah,
and who is our representative? Because it seems to me.
we have a new representative that came to coffee with the mayor.
Is it Ian? Okay,
Isn't he back? Okay, yeah,
but I would be willing to make a call, Tracy.
Yeah.
Just to say, there's some concern here,
mhm,
what is the direction that we need to
Right,
go? Because I've noticed there's been some. That there's been some resistance on the part of highway department to changes that don't relate to roads.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, and we really need to be careful because we need their approval for our new sign.
Yeah, and we have to be clear, Maxine said it really well, we're not opposing the sidewalk.
No.
The sidewalk is fine, you know,
Right.
that's good,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
there's more to this project than just the sidewalk,
Mhm.
and they're not, and that needs to be understood.
Cause yeah, our concern really is the box
Right.
location. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so what you're asking, what's
So,
the ask?
so my ask is, I wanted to make sure that you all had the same concerns. And then Maxine, what is your recommendation on how we should move forward?
Well, I just heard about today for the first, briefly yesterday. When Nick, that out. I've not talked with my other council members, I've not talked with the city manager,
Okay.
but I think that, it's unfortunate we're closed tomorrow, but I will reach out to the city manager on Friday, or maybe
Okay.
send an email tomorrow.
Okay.
I would like to see it on to the agenda, but I
Okay.
would encourage people, especially the commission, to
Mhm.
speak up during public comment. And I'll share it during my report of our meeting,
Mhm.
but I think that we've got to make sure the Constitution is right.
Right,
People, when I look at Facebook and I'm thinking I'm having an Instagram and that Instagram is even more people.
right,
So many people with social media, but I
right.
see people be like, yeah, if I heard they're gonna make those sidewalks ADA,
Mhm.
thumbs up, of course.
Right.
But there's no mention of this, the 11 o'clock that would block the Olivet sign, there's no mention of what the real issues are.
I think we need to propose an alternative, don't just say, I don't like where it's located, we need
Yeah.
to say, this is a bad location, we'll put it here.
Can it be moved further, put it
Give
more,
consideration.
yeah,
give consideration.
consider relocating it to the southern side of the intersection on Old Bonham.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
to be clear as.
But is that by the
where-
gas station?
No,
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 no, no.
this
It's-
is Old Bonham. I'd like him to just put it here and then it won't block any sight.
Just move it.
Just right down here.
south.
There's already a big
After you
AT,
turn the corner?
yeah, there's a big AT&T box down here.
So after
So,
that was-
yeah, so right here.
Right.
I'd like
That
it
was a
right here.
major issue when they did that, if you guys.
So,
remember.
Forever.
Really?
I do remember. They were there forever working on that box.
Wow.
Yeah,
On many issues with that,
yeah.
cause it was a
Oops.
big deal.
Oh, my
They weren't
goodness.
Doing that the way they should
Well,
have.
there's a lot of fiber around.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. We'll
Okay.
work on that. Okay, I appreciate it.
Item number 7, annual work.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Something there.
Go for
I
it.
know it's the liaison, not that much, but I think that Beverly hit upon something that's important. And the last time that they read a proclamation we were not aware of it as a council.
It's on the agenda tonight.
Oh, okay, because I think having people there.
Yeah.
And people that aren't here tonight.
We had it, we talked about it at the meeting, last year.
Okay,
Yeah,
but when
yeah.
they did the, night sky.
Oh, the night sky one,
There was nobody there and.
right.
And it was.
And we, again, we talked about
There
it.
was nobody there. I believe I was there.
Oh, I thought it
Yeah.
was. Were you? Well, they
Yeah.
didn't really read it, remember?
Yeah, but I was there.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
Um,
my house is-
All right,
All right, the annual work plan.
okay. So first up, Urban Night Sky Place report from from the working committee, Stephanie and Bill.
No, I can go. So,
Somebody else.
we had a good meeting, yeah, I'll make this quick. We had a good meeting yesterday, with Beverly, Stephanie and myself. We have now a Google sheet, which has all the, steps that we're gonna follow for our plan. By end of tomorrow, all the commission members will have view access to it. Then Stephanie, Beverly and myself will have update access. So we went through probably about half the details that we needed, if not a little bit more, are now populated. We have we're moving and making good progress there. We're looking at about 6 months to a year, probably closer to a year till we can try to have the designation for the remainder of our parks.
Okay.
Any questions?
Okay, terrific.
All
Okay,
right. City council report.
no,
Nope.
no, we have
Three.
three more
did
things.
I do?
Okay, hang on.
So then,
Okay, so we've got green team. So green team, we've identified, so as you all know, our big push this year with this year's green team is increasing recycling compliance in the parks and at events. So the first thing we discovered is that there is a mini grant, $10,000 from the St. Louis Jefferson County Trash Consortium. And we are going to move forward with applying for that grant for these clear streams. These are the collapsible units that we use at special events. You can see it right. You can see it right here. They're excellent because you can see through them. People do a much better job and they have the right holders at the top. Then they also manufacture this, which is a weatherproof one that again is clear, but trash can't get in it. And then they have ones that have two circles, not the dog bone. We don't want to get the dog bone because we don't want to encourage paper going in there. We're just focusing on bottles and cans. So we will apply for these to use at Stacy Park as a pilot, see if they work. And then if they work, we'll get more. We don't know the cost of those. With these ones, we know the cost. We have to get an estimate for this, but definitely it'll be within the $10,000. The other thing we are toying with is, depending on how much it costs with the $10,000, we could also purchase composters and then have a composting workshop, and the people that come could go home with the composter. So that's something else we're looking at, that we might not. Yeah, it would be really cool. So those are two things that we're working on right now. And the other thing, the first thing is we wrote a sustainability policy last year. We're refining it so it can be final and then adopted officially by the department, and then could be a model if the city wanted to expand to other departments or the city take it on for itself. So that's what we're working on there. And then moving on to annual work plan.
yes.
Oh, sorry,
Park
sorry,
visits.
park visits. I don't know why it doesn't say, oh, there it is. Yeah.
It's fine. That's
It's
right.
there. Okay.
It's there, it's over there. So a couple updates here. Kate, who was very kind enough to create a Google sheet that we were using for tracking visits to the park. One of the problems that we had is, it was created by Kate. Now that she has moved off of Parks and Rec and moved on to City Council, we lost direct access to it. So one of the things that I have done, I created a new email account, which I forgot what it is, but I believe I sent it out. It's like Olivet Parks and then N Rec. That we will use going forward for creating surveys and things like that we use internally. Once that has been created, or that has been created, I took the survey that Kate created. Everybody should have that link. I sent it out today. It's pretty quick to go through. I just want to kind of walk through it, and everybody should also have it on your phone. I actually texted it to you, but it works the same way. Pretty simple. You select your name from the name of park commissioner. So you just drop down, and then you just want to select me. I've got everybody here, who is a park commissioner. And then the park,
Can you go back and?
I absolutely can. Then what park did you visit? Again, just a drop down, which month, pretty straightforward. Then just some things that you observed. So how many people were in the park? You don't have to count them, just do a rough estimate. What were people doing? And, so select whatever you want, or if you want to have something that's other. You can add a value that, something that we included. Did you notice any problems? You can put none, or an NA. Any feedback that you received from people, you can enter it there. Then any thoughts you'd like to add, you just enter it. Just like Beverly's doing, and then this is the important part, make sure you hit that submit button. If you don't, it just sits there, or if you accidentally hit clear, all you gotta do is go through it, you can see how quickly we can update it. Everybody can do this from their phone except for Stephanie, we need to talk, it will take you, I only have an Outlook email for you. Excuse me. Do you have a Google or a Gmail? Okay, I need to get that, the only one I had was Outlook,
Oh.
so I just need to get that, and then I can add it, perfect.
Okay,
So I
yeah.
can-
then I
okay.
see. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So-
my Gmail.
The only feedback I would give you,
Yes,
and this goes back to the original design. That I've been, and I don't know if this is good or bad, but I'm going to the park many times in a month.
Mhm.
And I find very different situations every time, so I'm putting in multiple entries per month.
Mhm.
So I don't know how that's impacting the way
it,
we're
it
tracking.
tracks it, and I'm gonna go through it now, or I can, in our next meeting.
Yeah.
I can actually.
That'd be
put
great.
results.
If you could do that next meeting, that'd be awesome.
Yep.
And then I don't.
Yep, but yeah, it actually tracks all the different, you have by far the most feedback. Of you,
Sure I
and,
will.
I think like 60% of it was yours, like 20% of it was Jim's.
Yeah,
And so we can track all the responses, so that's good.
Okay.
And really in my mind, and I'm not speaking for us, I'm more concerned about us being there. I mean, if we have, it won't necessarily show the date. But if we know in June, a big
Yeah.
concern that we had was X, and we see that 15 times amongst, then we know that's something we can do.
I just wanted to make sure that we were able to track that there are multiple entries.
Yes, we can. Yep,
The other thing, I'm gonna do a little PSA here, if
Please.
it's okay. If you see something, say something, and that's for the public record as well, right? So don't hesitate, you're part of the overall community, and we need people to speak out if there are issues. Can't fix what we don't know is broken. So I would highly encourage people to take action, be it, if you're not comfortable doing it yourself, report it to somebody.
Send it to me.
Yeah, send it to the park director, email address, or reach out to anyone on this commission, and we'd be happy to take your feedback.
And if I put something in the forum, are you reviewing that on a
Well,
regular basis?
so,
Or you want me to-
we will start reviewing it in
Yeah.
this meeting. Here's
So-
the section.
Yes,
Okay.
so stuff that you put in the form is, I want everything in the form, good and bad and
Okay.
indifferent. But if there's something that you're putting in the form that's a high priority, please contact me separately.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so it's
Yeah.
kind of like the tree on the trail.
Yes, that's why I have this tree falling down here
Right.
from the
Yeah,
storm.
so if there's
So,
something that's.
If you see something like that, I need to know ASAP.
But you should
Not
still
the golf
report
course
it.
over.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, terrific. Thank you so much for taking this on, Bill. It's a huge assist
Do
for me.
you prefer the text call or email?
Whichever's easiest for you.
Oh,
Yeah, some things you might want to call immediately.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right, so here's a quick update for you. July is Parks and Recreation Month. We're going to do the proclamation again this year. The theme this year is Build Together, Play Together. We are doing it Parks and Recreation Month Light this year. We're not We're gonna do as much as we did last year, but we're gonna do some of those same elements. So we are gonna do all of the social media posts. We're gonna do introducing the staff. We're gonna focus a little bit more on the park crew and the part-timers this time. We are doing splish, splash, popsicle dash. We're gonna give out, cute little tiny popsicles at the Warson Park Splash Pad. We're pushing that out. So you'll see some things. We're not gonna do the photo contest this year. We think it's more powerful if we do that every couple of years. So, but we definitely want to highlight the benefits of Parks and Recreation and highlight our parks, and we might be doing a bio blitz as well, and if that happens, I'll let you know. Then the other update, the July Parks and Recreation Month proclamation will be at the city council meeting next Tuesday. You're all welcome to come. It'll be great. And then bicycle ordinance, the first reading will be at the first meeting in July. So the city managers reviewed it, the police chief and I wrote it, and then the city attorney looked at it, and she only had one comment on the whole ordinance, which is fan-flippin-tastic. So we're going to add in the park section that when the bicycles are allowed in the park and they have that speed limit, they must yield to pedestrians.
Thanks.
So, yeah, so that's nice. Yeah.
Except for Sue, who will stop.
Hey,
Yeah.
just trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
do what you gotta do.
There we go. That you made it through your update. Moving right along.
Oh, Maxine has 1 minute before she.
That's why I said, go ahead, sorry about that.
So. You can be right over here. Last night was Olivet Night Out, it was a lot of fun, good food, good time visiting people, got a little warm. I was in a fun car with Deb, and, we visited 4 or 5 different streets. And it's exciting, I wish more neighborhoods would do it. I know it's hard to get the fire truck everywhere, and some people want that, but we will run it for next year and make sure they get around that. I believe we had there were 16 parties going on. We are finishing up the budget process. We had the first meeting and the last meeting, and the public hearing will be this Tuesday, this Tuesday the 24th, because it was going to have on July 1. And when it looks like, we have the first reading, and are there any questions when the council sits there and says, no, we're not there? And I was speaking with some people afterwards, and I said, we need to explain that we have spent March, April, and May really working hard on the budget.
But also
So-
our first reading, we never really talk a lot
Right,
either. It's always the second
exactly.
reading, which I
So-
didn't know when I first started here.
So
Yeah.
it's more the second reading, there will be a
Yeah.
greater presentation by Darren, but a lot of thought has gone into the budget. And also with, having 3 new council members, we did a lot of budget 101. For because, and a lot of onboarding, which hasn't been done, really needs to be done now, I think, moving forward with any new council member. And Jennifer Yackley, the city manager, has really been excellent about putting that in place. But Darren spent a lot of time walking the council through the different sections in the different departments. And instead of doing it all in one night, we did 3 departments at a time. And so there's some great insight and some really good stuff that's coming out of it, and you'll hear about capital improvements as well. It's just an exciting time in the city where if you drive down Olive, you see more building going on, starting at Olive Crossing, where the restaurants are gonna go at Grass Path and the Basin and Paris Spaghetti, which we've been going to talk about for years. You can see the foundations in, and things are moving along. Jennifer Yackley gave a report from last meeting, of where that is, and we hopefully, they'll be undercover by the end of the summer, hopefully, and by the next winter will be, we'll go there. Great Heart has expanded, they've moved to, you can make reservations online now, they've moved to table service, not outside, but it's, as they learn what they need and what the community is asking of them. And, I know that some of the empty places where like Party City or in other places, but there are businesses that are in discussion of going into some of these places. I don't know if they are, but I keep hearing that we'll be very pleased. Like I said, it's a, we had a retreat with the other, with the full council, we had an all-day retreat recently, and that was excellent as well. So, and we just go with Camp October to start here. You walk in late in the afternoon and you can smell campers. It does give the building a new, sense of fulfillment. But I will tell you, I keep hearing people within the community, not just all of that, because of the rentals and all. Everywhere I go out here, it's amazing. I mean, the feedback as or at the parks, or it's just constant. I mean, it's unbelievable, and I think we should all be very proud of what we've done with mission. And then the last thing is we do a commission opening. Tell people last night we were passing out sheets, but it's anywhere from. What I was saying to people, depending on what kind of commitment you want to make. You know, like 3 times a month with PCDC, once a month, what's more than once a month, I just talk about meetings, because like parks we're making. It's much more than once a month, but then more than a meeting, but the events and everything. But you know, there's some that are as needed, there's some that once a year, twice a year. So, I talked with a lot of people last night, passed out a lot of those sheets, but if you have neighbors, you think would be an asset to the community. Email, and just say, or send them a link, because, it's a great way to get involved, and I know that you've all benefited from being involved. Thank you.
2 questions. For the different committees or commissions that are available. We told people that have applied, or at least one person that applied, but hasn't heard anything. Is there like a timeline?
At the, I think it's here, we're gonna be discussing the processing. They're trying to get through next week, the people that, I think it's the 20th or the 24th, next Tuesday possibly. And then we'll be setting up, interviews for, I believe July.
Okay,
That's the hope.
okay. And then can you only be on one commission? I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't seen, they said you.
Someone asked
We've
me
had
last night.
people
I
on
think
here.
we have, I think
We have had
more
people on
than
Because
one.
I thought about being on the, personnel, applying for that, but I didn't see anything that said you could or couldn't, and I wouldn't want to give up this commission for the vote.
You're not allowed to give up. this
Oh, okay, well,
information. Let's be clear on that, Bill.
Yes.
We've had people.
I
on.
think.
With the people on some of these development boards and
Yeah.
like the Parks Foundation thing.
Well, the Parks Foundation is the city council.
No, but some of the that don't meet very
Yeah,
often.
I'm assuming
We
that's.
definitely have
doesn't beat
people
off.
serve on both.
Whether it's on the Board of Appeals or kind of.
Yeah.
something like that. I can look into that and get that.
Well, that'd be good, yeah. Cause I don't want to apply and then muddy the water for something that. And last question, I've had a couple people ask me. Like, why did Olivet do our Olivet Night Out different than the national night?
Because when we did it in August, it was very hard to get people to come because of St. Louis
Or
weather.
the heat? Okay,
And
makes sense.
because the schools start earlier and earlier,
Mhm.
and it tends to be, our experience when we did do it, there weren't as many parties and things, because that's when a lot of people like, it's in between camps
Yeah.
and the opening of school, and a lot of the community people are doing vacations, and then it was like 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, the last
Thank
time
you.
it was Ladie's open house.
Yeah. Then we did try to go a little past that back when, a little bit further in, and then it got dark so quickly that people
Oh.
didn't like that. So it kind of settled on June as weather's not quite as bad. There's light, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then earlier in the meeting, it came up, about Ian Mackey being our.
Yes.
It wasn't.
No, it's Ian Mackey is our representative, Brian Williams is
Our center.
our senator.
Okay,
But
And he's come to
Salvo Bond, which is still part of Olivet, is Tracy.
right, right.
Yeah.
That's
They-
right, because
they
we have
cut-
two.
they
Yeah, yeah,
changed
the
it
changes.
to
Yeah,
State highway.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Maxine.
All right. The Five Oaks monthly update.
I'm gonna move through this
Dashboard.
very quickly. We have 63 memberships since last month. They have been coming in. I think it's because it's summertime. So we have kids coming out from college or people who've graduated. We have sort of a surge with younger members right now, which is very exciting. Membership, so new members, I'm not gonna click the map.
It is cool.
It is cool, but we don't have to look at it every time. Okay,
Is there any update on solar sneakers?
we are not getting them.
Okay.
Yeah, we are not getting them. They will give us such a pittance that we are not doing it.
Okay.
If we are still open, we will negotiate with them again, but right now, it's a no. Yeah,
Keep asking someone.
I know, people ask us and, yeah, we can't afford it. Oh, sorry, I'm ready when you're ready.
All right, so that's it, right?
Yep, park.
And the park updates.
So-
Recreation,
yep.
mission update.
Yep, so very quickly, we have a new play area that we added to the indoor playground for the little tiny kids that can't quite get up into the climber and they're loving it. It's very cute. Camp, it's very interesting having camp here. We're using all aspects of it, working really hard to make sure our regular users are not impacted by camps. And then camps can still get their things done, but it's been wonderful to see the kids. The program is much improved this year. The camp staff are really good this year. It's one of the best staff I've seen, and we have a fantastic camp specialist who came very experienced. So you could, what's fun is for them to be able to use Horse Park. So they're out on the trails, they're making, cooking things in the kitchen. And they're able to walk down to Indian Meadows. Yesterday, I was over at Indian Meadows. We do a lot of park work there in advance of Olivet Night Out, and I was over checking there, and our campers were there. So it's really fabulous for them to be in this location.
Now, is that specialist staff members
He's a part-time staff member for this, so he's seasonal for the summer.
or seasonal?
Yeah.
Call out a name.
Oh, his name's Jack. Yeah, his
Yeah,
name's Jack.
one.
I don't know his last name. I can't remember.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
but I mean, we have staff that's extraordinarily good.
Yes, he's great, and he's still in college, so hopefully we'll get him back next year. Yep. All right, the parks crew has been incredibly busy, so we've got the new sidewalk extensions here. They did that with the Public Works crew. They look beautiful. I'm so impressed with the job they did. And we really are thankful to Travis for working on that. Now, this is what Jim was talking about. So when we first took down the fence between Stacy and Emmanuel Lutheran, this is what it looked like. We've seeded it and it's coming with the rain we've had. It's coming in beautifully. This is their grounds crew was in there. They did not mow this yet, thankfully. But it's still very thick vegetation. Right through here, you can see the Cottonwood Trail. So you can see it's very enticing. There is no sidewalk on Warson out here on this side, even to get to the cemetery. Everyone walks on the other side of the street. So I really don't want people crossing here. There's no crosswalk. So I don't care if they walk in through there as long as they're not irritating Emmanuel Lutheran, but I don't think we want to put up a
We
welcome
don't
mat.
want to incur.
Yeah, but people are gonna do what they want to do.
Yeah, no, and that.
Yeah, now over the dog park, we had this big, it's hard for you to see this, but this was a big mudslide.
Yes.
It was coming out, so everybody gathers with their dogs here, they chit chat and this gets churned up, we can't keep the grass growing here. So what the crew did is they dug it out, they put in a rubber topped border in there, they put in the wood chips, and hopefully this will make less mud and be a bigger improvement. We're still trying to figure out what to do here, because we want it to be grass, we don't want to put in AstroTurf. But we'll see what happens. And this is true in any dog park, not just us. It's anywhere the
It's
dogs,
been so wet.
and it's been very wet, right? So, okay.
My picture's not helping.
This is the project on the corner, refreshing this corner at Stacy is done. It's beautiful. what an improvement in this historic, memorial here. It's very hard to see here. This is a new young dogwood tree. They've cleaned all this up. They're gonna continue taking this down. We couldn't go further, at this point because we don't wanna, stress the boxwoods. So we'll take it down again next spring. This is the perennial garden on both sides. This, again, native garden, so it looks a little scruffy. In 2 years' time, it'll look very nice in there. So that, I'm really happy with this project, and the family's very happy. They put a beautiful post on Facebook and tagged the city for it. So this is a memorial for a young woman who passed away with his kids, very sudden, so very, very sad. Then we have lots coming up. Open mic night next Friday here, and a lot of our pickleball players are participating. So there are 3 pianists. One of them studied at Juilliard. There's vocals, there'll be harmonica. So I encourage you all to come. There'll be, I think, probably beer and wine. So I think it'll be a nice evening. And it's free. So, and you could always pick up the mics. Oh, sorry, it's the 27th. I think it's Friday night. Do I have it right? Oh, I do say the 26th. I did say that last night. So let me,
Sign off there.
26 is Thursday.
right, so.
Are you doing that? So I just reserved the pavilion. I have a couple of questions. Why do you require a birthday?
Software requires that we have to do it to verify who you are and to make sure that, because we have age things in there, but the software demands that we can't put anybody in without an age.
Thank you.
You don't have to put your age. If you don't put your age, we put in usually 1970 or 1950.
You can't, well, so if you don't have to put your age, why can't?
You have to put your age. It's just people don't want to.
Just have a box that says, are you over 18?
We can't, because it's our software. It's a requirement from the software. We can't edit it. Yeah, we have a package, and there's lots of reasons they do it. It has a whole host of reasons behind it, and it also helps us verify that someone's really giving us
Trust me.
correct information.
You don't wanna modify the song.
Okay, no, I don't. My other question, I was shocked that they kept my credit card from over the year ago. I do not think we should.
We don't have access to your credit card. We only see the last 4 digits. And we do that because we have all these ongoing payments. A lot of people pay monthly for their memberships, but we are PCI compliant. So it's a double blind. We don't see it. Yeah. And then we want to be able to put your deposit back on this.
I know, I can see it for the deposit, but just.
But that's another
sure.
software.
But again, it's hard for us to go in and strip it out. We don't have access for that type of thing. Yeah, so, but we follow every federal guideline. So please feel confident in it. It is Thursday. I apologize. It is Thursday. it's correct. All of the things are correct. I just keep saying Friday, but it's Thursday.
And what?
Yes. It's 6 to 8. Here it is. Yep.
I'd see you.
Yeah.
Happy to see you.
So Debbie Schwartz is playing, Pat Cho is playing. Pat Cho went to Juilliard, studied piano at Juilliard. They play here periodically, and so I think it'll be really nice, and I'm very disappointed to miss it.
You just put in, right?
I'm disappointed. I'm gonna miss it, so I'm disappointed to miss it. So that is correct. That's the correct date. It's just I'm saying the wrong day.
And that's the 26th.
Yes. All right, so that is it, everyone.
All right.
One thing that I would bring up is that we need to consider, Creve Coeur is considering what they're going to do with Thayer, selling the east side of it.
Mhm.
And so we don't have direct voice in it, but it will impact Stacy. And so we need to make sure that we're involved with that, for the tree ordinances and lots of trees in there and stuff. I was at a Creve Coeur meeting on
Monday.
Monday night. And so they were discussing.
Did they have opportunities for public input?
That this was the first PBA or whatever, the same group that we use.
Mhm.
For the comprehensive plan here. they're trying to get feedback. There were probably 75 people there, so there's a lot of concern, it's just that we need to keep track of what's going on.
Mhm. Are you signed up to get those updates?
I have not signed up yet, but I did not see anyone, city government there. I saw Ron Jago from
Mhm,
planning, but he lives across the street.
mhm, right,
And so we had.
Yeah, yeah.
So we had a conversation about it. But it's something that needs to be on everyone's radar.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I was going to go, but I went home and went to bed. Just,
No, I
yeah.
understand.
But I'm very interested in that. I have a meeting when I get back from vacation with the Parks and Rec director, or he's the recreation director in Creve Coeur, but
There's 125 acres.
there is, yeah, there's a lot in there.
Largely,
We've seen lots of critters.
But that's where, wildlife rescue releases,
Yeah,
animals.
Fox, that's where they
Yeah.
release the fox. I
They
had-
release things that come from this area and,
and so, so then they start coming.
well, that's one of the reasons we wanted to remove the fence, so we have that wildlife corridor, because it's so important.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So it's
Yeah.
just, that's a long-term thing. It probably won't be developed even in my lifetime, but
oh, I don't know. I mean, look how
No,
fast the other one went.
They did the west, they clear cut everything on the west.
Creve Coeur's, city manager just resigned. He's going to be the new head of Great Rivers Greenway.
so anyway, I just think that,
Wish you would tell me.
we as parks, particularly since Stacy is our premier park,
Mhm.
we need to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know a councilwoman there that got on the council after the west side was already sold, and she is very pro-environmental. So, they all need support.
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so,
Well, Jim, I really appreciate you going,
Yeah.
and please keep us informed anything you hear. Yeah. Yeah, and so it would be great if the Parks Commissioner could go to each meeting.
yeah, I think we're gonna have another one.
Good, good.
All right,
Thank you.
future agenda items, you've already
Oh.
hit those, I think.
I have not.
Oh,
Next month, TJ's going to come and give you the results of our user survey and what we've done since with the feedback.
All right. I'll entertain. The motion to adjourn.
I'll make some motion to adjourn.
Second.
Vote.
Thank you.
Everyone opposed? Everyone in favor?
Aye. Like I didn't.
Adjourned.
Okay, let me turn off the recording. See if I can figure it out. Stop the show.